stop. Do not do any Facebook ads for your music until you've watched the rest of this video. What's up guys, Damian Keyes here, welcome back to the channel. So, my Instagram is saturated with bands and artists promoting their music and promoting their new single. Every time I'm on Instagram playing the old swipey game, every single sponsored post is from some act, some artist saying, hey, our new single's out, why not go to Spotify and have a listen? The thing is, it's now becoming a saturated market. It's the new trend, it's what everyone's doing, and I totally understand that, but we are now back in the same boat. Everyone's doing it, so how are you going to cut through the noise? So firstly, let me just say I am all in on Facebook advertising. Any kind of digital advertising, I have been saying for many years, are the greatest form of advertising that we have ever seen in the history of the world. They are unbelievable. So I am all in on Facebook ads. But at the same point, I'm also all in on a really great social media strategy. And I'm all in on bands going on tour. And I'm all in on bands rehearsing 3 times a week. Being all in doesn't matter. Doing something properly and doing something well enough with purpose that is going to be successful and get the results, now that is a very different thing. Since this new trend of pushing people across to your music on Spotify via a 15-second advert on Instagram stories, too many musicians and too many bands think that that is the game. It is not the game. It is a very important part of the game, but if you neglect the rest of the game, you will still lose. This is one aspect of a big jigsaw puzzle. And you absolutely can't just bypass everything else thinking that this is a shortcut. Otherwise, you will find that this is going to be a very, very expensive vanity project. So how do you ensure that you aren't throwing money away and you are getting the best results and the best return of investment for your socials and your music via Facebook ads? Okay, so welcome back to the Board of Doom, which I like to call the Board of Doom. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through the best strategy for Facebook ads. We're also going to look at why lots of bands fall down when they're trying to do Facebook ads to push their music. So it all starts with the music video. You've made the music, you've made a video, and then you think, I want to get this in front of people, not just in front of our audience, but in front of people that will love this. So then comes the boost or the Facebook ads. Now, boosts are a very clumsy, expensive way of pushing your music out. You just don't get the same targeting as you do when it comes to the actual ads. And that's because in ads, you run campaigns, and there's different types of campaigns which Facebook has set up, knowing that every single person in Facebook. So it's a lot better to run Facebook ads. But effectively, without going into too much technicality, you push your music in front of lots and lots of people and you say, these people like a similar type of music, a similar demographic. So we know that these people could very possibly like our music. You push that music video out. And then what happens is, if you're doing that via a reach campaign or a brand awareness campaign or maybe a video views campaign, you're literally saying, we need to keep people on the platform. I'm just going to show people on Instagram, on Facebook, and what happens then is the best you can hope for at that point is they go back into your Instagram, they might become a follower, but on the whole, they kind of know who you are. Fantastic. But what happens then? Because at that point, they're not doing anything. If you want them to actually go across to your Spotify, you say, well, what we'll do is we'll run a traffic campaign to try and get people away from Instagram across to Spotify. Now this is where it starts to get expensive, and this is where what we've got to do is we have to do something different in order to make it cheaper. So what happens is you look at this audience. Now you can see it's very heavily lopsided one side, and the reason for that is because these are the people the closest this side who've watched the least amount of video, and the people this side, these are the people who've watched the most amount of video. So let's just say, whoops, we go down like that, and let's say roughly the people in the first third have watched around about 3 seconds, and the people in the second third of this circle maybe have watched 10 seconds, maybe 20, maybe 30 seconds. And the people over this side, now they've watched loads. They watched most of it. In fact, they've definitely watched over 50% of the video. So effectively, Facebook has now said, well, in which case we showed it to all these people, and these people weren't really fussed. And these people kind of might have been a bit fussed, but they got bored quickly and they left. But these people, they really dug it. They really loved it. So therefore, it makes sense that what we've got to do in Facebook advertising is we have to create an audience to do what we want them to do, or at least to try and get them to do what we want them to do, which becomes stage 2, which most brands don't get right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try and get these people here from this little section here across into its own audience. These are the hardcore. These people are the ones that we know who we are, and they like us because they've seen us and they've gone across. So effectively, we're trying to get all of those people over here. And these are your targeted audience. Targeted audience. Kapow! And so there might only be 100 of these people, or they might be 1,000, but these ones here, if you've put in, let's say, I don't know, if you're talking about dollars or pounds, if you've put in $100 or £100, you might have got in front of 100,000 people for $100. That's amazing. Problem is, out of those 100,000 people, there's only about 1,000 or maybe 100 of them who've actually really paid attention. So if we're trying to get these people away from Facebook, it's going to be very expensive. It's going to be a lot more expensive than $100 because we're keeping them on that platform instead of trying to take them off. Trying to take 100,000 people off a platform is very, very expensive. We haven't got time for that. We can't do that. So we're basically targeting them to get those people into here. And what we end up then is 1,000 people, which if we want to, then we can then try and push across to Spotify using, and this is the difference, what we're using now is a traffic campaign. In other words, a campaign to try and get them off, whereas this one is more of a kind of reach or video views campaign to get to see who likes it. And from there, we can do one last part of that, which makes it very clever from Facebook. Should you want to, Facebook has the ability to make what is called a lookalike audience. So out of these 1,000 people that's in here, Facebook has said, oh, I've ranked everyone in the whole of Facebook. I've been watching them for the last 10 years, and I know the way that you think. I know the way that you work. I know what music you like. I know if you watch a video. I know whether you comment. I know whether you like. I know the typical traits that you are. So what it will do is it will then take every single person in this audience, and it'll say, right, I will go and search 2 billion people on Facebook, and I'm going to come up with a very, very, very similar audience to everyone's in here. So instead of the 1,000, what it will do is it will 100x it, and it will make them into a 1, probably even 2 million strong audience. So whereas this is pretty close because they like the same music, this is very close because they've seen it and we know these people like you. So then what we do is we mirror that, we 100x it, and we get this, which is called a lookalike audience. Oops, a lookalike audience. And those are the people then we start targeting. When we go to our second single, our third single, our album, we've got this audience that's starting to get as tight to what we want as we possibly can get it. Now this is all fantastic because this is a way that we can actually get people to our music. But that's not the game. So what's next? So let's say people have gone to your Spotify and the numbers are starting to build. What do people do next? Well, they might add your song to a playlist, they might save your song, or they might even follow you on Spotify, which is fantastic. But even then, what happens next? Because where's your return of investment? Because in order to do this, you start putting in money, you start putting in dollars and pounds, and that starts to add up, even $5, $10 a day. You start to do more tests. All of a sudden, hundreds and hundreds of dollars or pounds have gone past, and you have a lot of people who've gone to your Spotify. But where's the return of investment? The trick is to have a rounded campaign. One thing that has never changed since the start of the music industry is that timing is everything. And when you release It's because you're releasing at a specific point once you wound things up, and you wind and you wind and you wind, and then you let it go at the precise moment which will do the most amount of damage. It's been the same way that bands and artists have got in the charts since the 50s. It's all about timing and the lead up to that release. The thing is, adverts are just awareness, but fans, they come from substance. And whilst this is very controversial to say, anyone who thinks the buying public is stupid is just very deluded. There has become this big push on getting your music in front of people. Well, I can tell you how to do that. In fact, I can get your music in front of 1 million people, possibly even 2 million people for $50. Isn't that insane? 1 million people for $50. To put that into perspective, that is 2.5 times the size of the entire population of Iceland. And if it goes to 2 million people and I do my job really, really well, that is 2.5 times the entire population of Fiji. That's a crazy amount of people. But what does it serve? What does it do for you? Probably nothing. This is about carefully selecting the right people who will come on your journey, appreciate your music, and more importantly, become fans. I always talk about building an audience, but building a fan base is how you monetize. Building an audience is a part of it. Building an audience is a bunch of people who will watch. A bunch of fans are people who will pay. Getting my music in front of as many people as possible, that's a win-win, surely. I mean, what can possibly go wrong? No, that is wrong. Spotify is an algorithm-driven platform, just like every other social media platform. So therefore, the algorithm means it is trying to show the user the best thing or the most valuable thing that it can show them at every second that they are using that platform. It's basically saying, I'm going to try and do everything I can to give you the right thing in front of your face at all times. That is its one and only job. Its job is not to look after the musician or the artist. Its job is to look after the user who's using the platform at that moment. But when it comes to ads, this is your chance to cheat the system. This is your chance to push your way in and saying, I'm interrupting you to bring you this broadcast. I want you to see this, even if the algorithm isn't showing it to them. This is your in. The problem with that is if you do this wrong, if you get on playlists which aren't right for you, if you get put in front of people that aren't right for your music, all that will happen is Spotify will start breaking down. It'll start going, I don't understand. I'm trying to show this to certain people and they're not liking it based on the data that I've been given. The problem is, who's given it the data? You. If you give it the wrong data, it will say, got it, I'm going to go and do the thing that you want me to do. And then it won't work. And at that point, you've just broken the algorithm and therefore you have broken your Spotify page. The first problem you have is when you go on your Spotify and you go for your fans also like, it will just put you lumped in with a bunch of artists that have no relevancy to your music whatsoever. And it's very clear that you've basically been paying for the wrong people or paying for the wrong playlists to show you off. So what is your end goal with your ads? Because what it should be to get your music in front of the right people, to bring them value so that they come around and come back to your socials. So at that point, you are building a relationship. Because if you don't have the history or the story or what you stand for or the visuals, if you don't have those in place and you are literally just pushing music down someone's throat, then that's going to run out as soon as you stop putting money into it. And at that point, what are you left with? So if you are about to run some social media ads or you are in the middle of running some social media ads, here are 3 things I just want you to think very, very carefully about. Number 1, make sure that you have a strong social media campaign which goes alongside in the lead up and during your ad campaign. Don't invite people to a party when you are not there to meet them. Number 2, make sure that whatever advert you are running, you have got a massive hook in the first 1 to 3 seconds, because this is a fast world and everybody is jumping on the bandwagon of promoting their music on Instagram stories, which is 15 seconds. So therefore, if you're playing the swipey game, how long are you going to give someone? Half a second? 1 second? That's a long time when you're in swipey land. So you have to make sure you have something which captures people's attention within the first 1 to 3 seconds. And number 3, the big one, think about the return of investment. And I don't just mean financially. What are you doing when you are sending someone away to Spotify? You are saying to them, I am going to send you away because I want you to come back stronger. I'm sending you away to listen to something in the hope that you come back a bigger fan. I'm sending you away to listen to something to give you more value so that when you come back, you like me even more. That is the return of investment. We are not here to build audiences. We are here to build fan bases. Audience watch, audiences listen, fans buy. I've just made a course for Facebook ads which is pushed to my exclusive community, and in doing so I did a lot of research via my own Instagram and other bands on people that are using Facebook ads to push their own music, and it is surprising how few are actually using the right strategy and how few are actually using context to get people to go to Spotify to come back again to get that return of investment. So if you'd like to check out that course or any of the other courses that I run in the exclusive community, or just be a part of that exclusive community, then check out the link below. But otherwise, thanks for watching. If you can do me a favor, like, subscribe, the usual stuff. More importantly, just kind of be a part of this community because I'm so proud of what we are creating. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.